Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Colonel O'Truth's Miniature Issues. In this episode I'm starting work on East Street, with the rather grand Trades Guilds Hall on the right and the slightly more humble Apothecary on the left. I previously roughed out some buildings to fill this space, but I've decided I'm changing the design. I've cut out a footprint that will fit against the south wall, ending where the south gate will eventually be. I don't have a plan at this point, more a concept, but I'm finding my way through, mostly in my head, and then working out how things should fit together. Kind of a jigsaw puzzle. Carefully labeling and numbering things to correspond with the footprint. It's easy once you start cutting things out to forget what goes where. Think you've made mistakes, cut things, realise you hadn't made a mistake and now you have, and it can all go horribly wrong. Using my circle stencil to plan out a round window that eventually won't be used. That's okay, that's the nature of this kind of design. And getting around to cutting out the windows first. I'm doing this by hand straight away. Obviously the knife is nice and sharp. I'm not messing around with a ruler here. I'm just cutting by hand and allowing the balsa wood later on to straighten up the frames where necessary. This is some really nice thick black card I found in a shop recently. It's very solid, about 1mm thick, and glues nicely with PVA. It also has the benefit of already being black, as I want the interiors of the buildings to be black so I can hide things in them, not make the wiring for the LEDs too obvious through the windows. So having cut the pieces, I'm laying them out in a rough sort of 3D jigsaw design so I can visualize where everything's going to go. And it's time to start putting them together. As I've mentioned before, good quality builder's PVA, and on this kind of cardboard it dries very, very quickly. I'm not sure why, but it does make working with it really easy. At this point I'd like to say thank you to everybody who's supported this project so far. The response here on YouTube has been amazing. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It helps to keep me enthused, keeps me going when the project gets overwhelming, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now I'm putting in some chimneys. Just thin XPS foam here. These will be glued into place, and eventually the roofs will be built around them. The larger chimney there will appear to hang in mid-air until I put it on the model, when it will actually sit against and on top of the south wall, which you can just see in the picture there. I like the idea of things overlapping and kind of falling over each other in Undercrag. It's a very ramshackle kind of place. It's probably been built over hundreds of years. Trying it for size. Not bad at all. Now it's time to get onto the balsa wood. Two 2mm strips, as usual. I'm putting the horizontals on first. Here you can see the balsa wood doesn't extend all the way along the building. The hashed area is where the building will fit against the south gate, and so that part of the model will be hidden. Now onto the verticals, starting with the corners, remembering to put posts on both sides of the corner. Now putting vertical posts either side of each of the windows before I put the window frames in top and bottom. The shape of this building's a little unusual. It's quite grand and it has that odd roof line. I wanted it to stand out from all of the others around it. For this reason, I'll also be giving it quite a gaudy paint scheme. Having a bit of trouble with some of the balsa wood there. Nothing that my faithful pointy stick can't handle. You'll also notice I'm not doing any detailing on the left-hand building yet. It's important that the two buildings look separate. They may be built side by side, but they don't share the same timbers. Round about this point I was starting to question whether maybe I'd put too many windows in. A lot of fiddly work. It's always worth the effort. You'll very often find with this kind of model, you want to cut corners, maybe simplify things for the sake of saving some time and effort. But I find once an idea is in my head, I have to do it or I'm never happy with the final product. So when frustration sets in, it's a good idea to go away and have a cup of coffee or something. A few angled pieces in there just as a bit of a challenge. And that's just about all of the verticals. and with the horizontals for the windows. There are gaps, that's okay. The painting process will fix them. So now the small details. I've done the horizontals and verticals on both buildings now, and I'm adding little tiny pieces in between, break up some of the larger panels. Again, you find yourself asking, can a 0.5 millimeter piece of balsa wood make much of a difference? And then it actually does, so it's worth it. Keen-eyed amongst you will note that I've cheated as well. The curved frame above the main door is cardboard, not balsa. There's a couple of reasons for this. Firstly, cutting a curved piece of balsa that small tends to just split. You never get a decent edge. And secondly, the grain goes the wrong way. In a real timber frame building, you can actually bend timbers, so the grain would follow the curve. You can't do that with tiny pieces of balsa wood. I'm fitting support beams here where the first floor hangs out over the street. And now diagonal details. Tudor-style buildings are full of these little effects. Timber detailing for the sake of decoration. And I've added shutters to the guild hall, just another detail to set it apart from the apothecary next door. A few bits still to go, but that's looking mostly done. Penciling in the stonework on the chimneys. As usual, I can't put the roofs on yet. I've got to put the LED lighting inside first, and the glass on the inside of the windows. Making sure you don't leave any blank faces. And now it's on to the painting, starting with the grey undercoat. Good solid start. In the next video I'll be taking it through the painting process, finishing the roofs, adding window boxes, finishing the shutters and the door hardware, and adding some other details. Until then, bye for now.